YouTubeski, what it do-ski? We back as usual with a good one.
Period. We are back again, and excuse my face, y'all. I got a face mask on that has to stay on until tomorrow, okay? So I'm extra shiny. But we have a really good video. I'm loving this new era of like so many people coming out saying why they were or are not Jehovah's Witnesses anymore.
It is necessary.
It is necessary for
Thanks
people to tell their story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll get into it, and this is Ace Metaphor talking about why he left Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes.
No longer Jehovah's Witness is because, you know, and it's gonna sound bad saying it, but I'm gonna say it. It's because I like the me I am now. And honestly, if me living in my truth is the reason why I don't go to heaven and I go to hell, then all right. I'm just bold. It just is.
Yeah. But that's
it's just I'm not a person. I just I don't believe in a fiery hell. I believe if you die, you just die. But I feel like there's so many people that's living in hell right now because they're not living their truth. And I'm not saying your truth includes hurting people. If your truth doesn't include hurting people, but it rather includes making you happy in the moment, then live that. In order to go back and be a Jehovah's Witness, I had to be a different person. And I don't want to be a person that I don't love. I look at the biggest times that I struggled in life, and it was because I was in turmoil about my identity as a person. And it's not, let me be clear with you, being a Jehovah's Witness saved my life. That is something I'd never change. It shaped my life, and those core values stay with me. But I'm an individual person, and me being an individual person fitting into a space where, you know, my individualism doesn't fit is not what I'm prepared to do now. Now, that's not to say in 10 years it might not be different, and in 20 years.
You're speaking of who you are right now, too.
But there are so many people, and this is my pet peeve, and I'm not saying Jehovah's Witnesses are doing this, but there are so many people that it's not that I don't like church. It's the people. It's the judgment. That's what church hurt is real for people, man. It's like, you know, I love God and I love the word. But Bertha? And this person and that person. And so
side note, we know him as Anthony, or Ant. Me and Ant went to the same congregation back in Dayton, Ohio for a little bit. I know he grew up in it. I didn't meet him until I was like studying as a teenager before I got baptized.
Right.
And he was a cool dude. Like, he was always talented. And hopefully he see this and wake up.
Right.
You know, but he was always talented. And I remember him doing the poetry slams.
Yeah.
And I remember him, I think he was disfellowshipped at the time and he got reinstated. And correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows that. But he would throw these big poetry slams, and I wasn't into poetry at all. It was not something I was familiar with.
Yeah.
But witnesses from all over the place was coming, and he was like the closer, and he would shut it down. Like, it was booming.
Yeah.
And I noticed how a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses were with popular people. And he wasn't lying on the part where we'll get into later on how people treat you inside of religion.
Yeah.
And not so much the religion, but the people. And you can kind of see how they judge or look down on certain people, especially if you've ever been disciplined before. That sticks on you like a jail record as a Jehovah's Witness. At the end of the day, no matter what you start to do to go forward, people, well, you know, he's such and such, or be careful, you know, they got in trouble for this. But he would do these big poetry slams, and he was always a talented person. And it's no surprise that he was able to blow up the way he did after leaving this call.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah, because he had the skill already, it seems like, and then it just got bigger. But I feel like he said a really good point that I think a lot of people struggle with, even people who are still Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's the lack of being able to express your individuality. Like, that is the worst thing ever, especially whenever it's made to feel like it's wrong. Like, obviously he had a passion for this, like throwing the poetry slams and all these things. Can you imagine if he was an active Jehovah's Witness now, and with tonight's conversation and all of that, you think that would be okay?
No, they wouldn't let it fly.
No, the kind of conversations that they have on that podcast, and like throwing those big shows and being able to go out and tour and do all these things, like that's not allowed. People who have like big influences, or any potential to influence other people, are majorly looked down upon in the Jehovah's Witness religion.
True, and it makes sense why he said he likes who he is now.
Exactly.
And he doesn't want to give up who he became to fit this criteria of what's allowed in this organization.
Yeah. You know what something interesting is that I seen like a post a couple weeks ago, and you know how we always say like, oh, the highest frequency is love, the highest frequency is love, like that's where we should all be. But it's actually the highest frequency is authenticity. That's the highest frequency, is you being able to be who it is that you are and move that way.
Because if you're not yourself, something is missing.
Yeah.
You're living the way that everybody else wants you to live, or to everybody else's standards, but you are missing that spark within you.
Yes. And whenever somebody has that spark, because you can feel it. Like, it's just like, oh, this person is just comfortable in who it is that they are. They're happy with, who it is that they show up as. And that is like the real influence right there.
True.
I'm at a point where, there's probably some, going through what I've had to go through for the last couple months, there's probably some internal work that I have to do there, because to be honest with you, Cam, I got disfellowshipped and I've been running ever since. I've been distracting myself with work. I've been going from this project to this project to this project to this project, that I never sat still long enough for that trauma to catch back up to me and realize that, hey, in my adult life, maybe this is why I am detached from certain situations. Maybe this is why I am callous. Maybe this is why, even in a 7-year relationship or a 4-year, however you want to define it, it's only so deep I was willing to go with her. And maybe it had nothing to do with her not being an awesome person, but me being scared of abandonment. Me being scared that, like, yo, it ain't that I fear that I'ma leave a person. I know if I fuck with you, I fuck with you, and I ain't gonna leave you. I just don't think when you say you fuck with me and you ain't gonna leave me, I don't know if I believe you. And a lot of people have, I don't know what the real term with it, but I feel like it's a reverse fear of commitment. It's not that I don't care about commitment, but I've had not many people in their life can understand how a disfellowshipping would feel if all your family are like in this portion, and then you're removed from it, and so overnight you're alone. You get what I'm saying? It's tough. So long story short, like, if I did ever go back to organized religion, it would probably be that. I do believe mostly that what they're talking about is the truth. And I believe that me being disfellowship was protecting the congregation. Because, Cam, I ain't gonna lie, I was having sex with a lot of people inside the congregation.
You said it. It's the truth to set you free.
And so responsible organization is saying, hey, listen, we just got to sit you out for a while. Had I had a different attitude, had I had humbled myself to that, had I had changed my behaviors, they would welcome me back in open arms. So I'm not sitting here telling you that I feel like they did anything wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm saying who I become now, I just love who I am now, and I don't want to jeopardize
What I wanted to bring out is that part when he talked about the church hurt and feeling like he was running and keeping himself busy. I remember when he was getting this fellowship, when they used to do, I don't know if they still do the Mark Talks. And if Ant see this, he gonna remember this. This arrogant elder, because they are just, I don't know what makes them feel like instead of me and you having this conversation, I should be able to get up on this platform and humiliate you in front of everybody.
Yes.
Even like announcing you being disfellowship. We need to get up here, a moment of silence, and just say this.
Right.
But with the Mark Talk, he made fun of him and mocked him because him getting this fellowship, and he was like basically talking about being flirts or being a ladies' man, and he's like, and a brother may say, I can't keep him off me. Like, did that on the stage, and Ant was kind of in the corner like,
right?
Because, bro, who why is that necessary? Especially if me and you and 2 other elders had a conversation,
Right.
and this is what was necessary. Why do everybody else need to be in the business?
Yeah.
And of course, if I'm being put in trouble,
Yeah.
everybody know who you're talking about.
Exactly.
Come on now.
That's so rude.
Yeah,
like
but-
you had a conversation with somebody and then you're gonna go up there and mock what they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're viewed as spiritual, but this person is a problem. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's just some of the things that I don't know everything that he had to deal with dealing with
Right.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Right.
But that's just something small. Or like hearing people make comments about, you know, oh man, he want to be a poetry dude, or he
Yeah,
like
just
or
hater
a little thing
stuff.
like, oh, you know, you need to be getting this much in service. You need to be a servant or elder. But you know what it is?
They're haters.
Haters. Jehovah's Witnesses have a lot of envy towards success and successful people. Any celebrities, you know, Ja Rule, yeah, he picked the world. Or Michael Jackson, yeah, that's what he get. Look, he going to court for, like, they just prey on the downfall of
Yeah.
people that have talent. Because at the end of the day, Jehovah's Witnesses are waiting on the say-so to pursue what they love to do, but they can't.
Yeah.
So it's better for me to point the finger at you for living the life I want to live.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not even gonna just pin it on Jehovah's Witnesses because it's not just them. You know, it's people in general
Yeah.
who are unhappy with themselves that
True.
come with this kind of energy and this kind of like they can't help but to talk badly about you in this like arrogant type of way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they just get to hide behind the religion and say, we're Jehovah's Witnesses. We're not supposed to be doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? But this
Yeah.
is people. Like people
Yeah,
out
for
here in
real.
the world are that way too. In the world.
Yeah, people-
Look at me using their grammar. But
Yeah, like it's a separate
yeah.
world.
No,
Yeah.
it's true. People are like that in general of all religions, all walks of lives. But regardless, it doesn't make it any better. That's why whenever people are like, oh, Jehovah's Witnesses are the best people. No, they're people. There's just as many hateful Jehovah's Witnesses as there are loving and cool Jehovah's Witnesses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with any group you think of, there's
Yeah.
good and bad.
Yeah, and I want to bring out another point that he had said too, because he says multiple times in this podcast how he's like it seems to have like troubles with like commitment and things like that, and he brings out maybe it's because of abandonment issues that he has, and I thought that was a good point to bring out, because if you're talking about somebody who has been disfellowshipped from the Jehovah's Witnesses, you basically, if your whole, it was his whole family in it.
Nothing. I know his mom was, I think.
Well, regardless of who's in it, if there's people in it who are very close to you, who have known you since you were a little kid and have seen you through different stages of life, and then you get disfellowshipped, and now all of a sudden access has been cut off completely. Like, that is hurtful. Of course,
Yeah.
you're going to have some kind of abandonment issues. And then on top of it, if you have other abandonment issues too, it's like, dang, every person that I let in or let close to me betrays me or abandons me. Like, that's the story that starts to repeat itself in your head. You
Right,
know?
especially if it's been beaten into your mind that we're not like everybody else. We're your
Yeah.
real friends.
Right.
We're your real family. You can depend on us.
Yes.
And then we just treat you like you don't exist no more. Like, how is that? And even when it comes to dating, as a Jehovah's Witness, if you are dating somebody, because I'm thinking of his situation as a former Jehovah's Witness,
Right.
wanting to get to know people who aren't Jehovah's Witnesses, and you believe in this religion, you know we can't really have a solid future, or it's always going to be a disconnection between us to where we can't really be like this, because I believe in the true God, Jehovah,
Yeah.
and this, and you are what I'm been taught is not really acceptable or
Yeah.
not really understanding. So we are missing that connection.
That connection, yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad because I've gotten to see like other kinds of people too who have this kind of situation too, to even where like, say he does become a Jehovah's Witness like way later in life or something, but he can't have like a different type of partner because everybody around him is going to judge that partner, you know? And I've seen a lot of that even in other cultures where like they don't want them dating different religions or other races. It's just like so much. And I think people need to allow others to just be on their own journey at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, I mean, he hits the points pretty good.
Yeah, for real. And overall, this is what's kind of sad about it, and I hope Ant can see this and goes down the rabbit hole that we all went down. It's the lingering guilt that a lot of people feel when leaving Jehovah's Witnesses, because a lot of people will, no longer be a part of the organization, but they still believe.
Yeah.
And as long as you still believe, you still feel like the guidelines that they push out are the correct things to do. Like
Right.
the part about this fellowship, and he feels like, you know, they weren't wrong for disfellowshipping me. But in reality, no person that's not even your family should be able to tell you, you know, your mom should stay away from you. Your cousins, this person that you were best friends with, your whole friend group, you don't deserve to be around them no more.
Yeah.
And it was taught to us like, all right, let me just take it on the chin. Maybe I'm the problem, and I don't deserve to be around these people.
Right.
Just because you have a different belief or something like that doesn't mean we can't still be friends or still be a family. And that's not okay for a religion because of the effects that disfellowship has on people. Like he even talks about how being disfellowship hurt him, even though he may feel like on one end it's okay, at the other end something that's okay shouldn't put you through this much pain and trauma and abandonment.
I think that people who have left Jehovah's Witnesses definitely give them a lot of grace, for sure, for like their behaviors and how they act, and it's not always deserving, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he says it like he was the only problem, but you're talking about two consenting adults. If you are out there and you're having sex with a bunch of people in the congregation, that's not just a you problem. That's a you problem and the other person problem.
Because
okay?
they both wanted to do this.
You're right. Exactly. Like, let's not act. And I think that there's just so many factors that kind of play into it, right? Because it's like you have the man where, okay, they're out there, they're wanting to have sex with the women and stuff, and may do it in manipulative ways. But then you also have the other side of it where it's the woman, and a lot of times they know exactly what they're doing, but they are able to hide behind but I didn't know because like I was never taught certain things and all this stuff. And this is why it's dangerous being in this kind of religion, because you're not told the realities of either or.
Yeah, that's
like
so
either
true.
gender, you know what I'm saying?
It's not fair, because a lot of the times the brothers are like, well, you're the spiritual head.
Yeah.
You know, Jehovah gives you this responsibility. You know better. So a lot of times the brothers get this fellowship and the sisters don't. Like that's a very common thing you will see.
Or it'll be like one person will get like privately reproved, the other person will be disfellowshipped. Like that's something that happens a lot.
A whole lot.
Yeah. And I think too, the whole like protecting the congregation, it's just interesting that you're going to use protecting the congregation for this kind of a thing with two consenting adults, but not with people who are touching kids. Like
why are they even in the congregation? Why isn't the congregation pushing for this person to be locked up, if anything?
Oh,
so much for protecting.
that's been changed.
Yeah.
I found out recently that was changed. Just a little side note, okay, guys? Did you guys know that elders, whenever they get something like that now into an elders meeting, that they now have to mandate report it
and
to the police?
This is what I want to know. Was this just told to the elders, or was this told to the whole organization?
No, because I think a lot of people are under the impression that they would naturally go to the police because they're mandated reporters. So I feel like that was just a counsel or an instruction that was given to the elders. I agree. Imagine.
And I would think that because this would raise too many red flags by saying, so friends, when these what events? Wait a minute.
Right,
like
where's this coming from?
How often does this happen? I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I doubt that they would make that announcement and be like, when these type of people do this to kids, who's doing that to kids?
Yeah.
And all they have to do is jump on Google. It's a wrap. A simple Google search on Jehovah's Witnesses lawsuits, they losing 50% of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea, but that's a new thing that we came to find out. But the last point that I think we should hit on is what he said at the end, like
being welcomed back with open arms.
Yes.
Alright, so anybody who's been disfellowship as just a regular person. Yeah, some people welcome you back with open arms.
Some people definitely will.
Some do, but it's always people who look down on you, like you got sugar honey iced tea on your face, like, And then with him having a platform like that.
Yes, that part. That's what I was going to say.
Go, I'll let you go.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, just because of the kind of influence that he has racked up, like you have to think about how influential that podcast is. Everybody has seen a clip or something of tonight's conversation, right?
Yeah.
So to try to go from that and then go back to being a Jehovah's Witness, I don't think that would be an easy transition whatsoever.
They wouldn't let him.
I think they would let him, you know, like, oh, he's changed his life, whatever. But he wouldn't be able to have those conversations anymore.
No,
and
that's stopping.
I almost feel like they would have him go back and like delete everything, especially since he is the person who created it.
Yeah, they would make him get rid of all that.
I think they would.
Yeah, they don't want you to be independent or successful on your own. You have to give up everything, give up the life that you want to live, give up your goals, your finances, and do what we say.
And I think there's even another factor to this. If he were to go, now I'm just making things up in my head, right? Mm-hmm. But if he were to go back and be a Jehovah's Witness, and say he did like, okay, tonight's conversation is over. I'm getting rid of all of it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get rid of the Instagram, the platform, all of the things. But imagine if he tries to start something else in the congregation again. Like, maybe poetry slams again. Like, imagine if he would try to start having parties or anything that he would try to do would be like under a microscope.
Oh yeah.
Because this started as the poetry slams. Like, he's been doing stuff like this. This is obviously something that he's passionate for and he can do like easily, you know?
Right.
They would not allow that to come. Like, you remember last time? Don't you remember what happened last time? That I can just see it. I can see it.
But let us know what y'all think. I think it was a good podcast. I gotta finish the whole thing, but I did see a couple clips, and then my homie sent me this one. I'm like, we gotta touch on this. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so shout out to y'all. Shout out to Ant, our ace. Hopefully he see this and he can continue down this healing journey.
Yeah.
Because we all been in this situation of being excommunicated from this organization, and it's not a good feeling, and it doesn't come with instructions on what to do.
Exactly. That was actually something else that I wanted to say too, is I feel like the reason he would go back is for the simple fact that he doesn't know anything else. Like, I don't know if he's done the, deep spiritual work that you have to. He said it himself that he's been running ever since he's been disfellowshipped. So like, has he looked into anything else? Probably not. If you still believe that this is the truth, then after being able to accumulate what you have, likely you haven't looked at other avenues of what's going on, And
it's hard to enjoy what you get when you still believe it's the truth, because you got this paranoia of God is going to punish me, or when is it all going to end, because I'm not supposed to have all this because I'm not doing what they said.
Yeah, and I think he talked about that too, is that he needs to do some inner work, and that's what all of us really need to do, is deep inner work and see what makes us tick, and what type of issues that we all have. Yeah, so
that's the truth. But let us know what y'all thought about this one. Hit us in our comments, hit us on our Instagram at Awaken Truths IG. Don't forget TikTok at Awaken Truths LLC.
And we have our healing journals. We have the normal edition and the PMO edition. Thank you to everybody who has gotten a copy, and we would love to hear your thoughts and what you thought about it.
For sure.
And just catch us in our next one. Don't forget to comment, and subscribe.
Peace.